Thank you.
So first, the film is based on Lee Child's novel,
Yes.
and we know that there's lots of novels to choose from. Why this novel, Never Go Back?
You know, we also kind of thought it was a good idea to change it and have it, you know, you see a different side of Reacher. Reacher's a character that doesn't necessarily change. It's the elements around him that reveal different sides of his character. And we just thought it'd be a lot of fun having this very personal story for this one.
What do you think makes this franchise different from other franchises like Mission Impossible?
Yeah, you know, where Mission Impossible is very high tech at times, this movie is very low tech, very grounded, more grounded. You know, this is a classic cinema hero, a character who has his own kind of justice, who stands up for those people that can't defend themselves. He is someone that resolves things, you know, both of them are very intelligent, Ethan and Reacher. Reacher is someone who, he's a wanderer. He is a drifter. He's someone who was in the military and has an incredible, brilliant mind, but also he deals with things with power and brute force and intelligence. And it's very, you know, the books are written, basically he comes up with a story just to serve that character, because what's interesting about the books is Jack Reacher, the way that he writes this character. It's incredibly entertaining, very witty, you know, has humor, and we tried to really work also the story and the action in that way to represent Lee Child's character.
Yeah. Speaking of Ethan Hunt, who do you think will rise up in a one-on-one fight?
Luckily, I never have to do that.
Yeah. So we know that the movie is shot on film, and is it intended so? Because we kind of feel that this film has a retro feel to it.
Yeah. Look, I love shooting on film. I think I know it has a different kind of texture. I use both, you know, formats. I'll use digital I think digital has its place and film has its place. But even Mission Impossible, I shoot on film. The Mummy that I just finished, I shoot on film. These movies that has a quality that is that way. I mean, for me, being someone, I love cinema. I'm a cinephile. The history of cinema and this definitely has that kind of vibe to it, you know, those films that I grew up and saw in the 70s.
We know that Jack Reacher is a loner and a drifter,
Yes.
and is it difficult to relate to him, and is there any apprehension that the audience will find difficult to relate to this kind of protagonist?
You know what, I think books are so popular, they love this character, you know, and when we see audiences and how the audience has grown for Reacher from the first movie, you know, because when you're making, you know, when turning a book into cinema, the cinema has to own that part of it and pay respects to the tone of the book. And what's amazing is how the audiences do identify with the character. It's a wish fulfillment for them, you know, because he stands up for those people that can't stand up for themselves. And the way they're designed is, you know, you want those guys to get justice. You know, if Jack Reacher is coming for you, there's a reason, you know, and it's just, as an audience, you just feel like, oh, it's just very satisfying, you know. And you know, I like going to movies where you feel that kind of wish fulfillment. Do you know what I mean? Where it's really the bad guys get theirs, you know, and you feel it. It has a visceral reaction for an audience.
Also, this time we find that Jack Reacher kind of softened up. We see him interact with Susan and also Samantha, other characters, and they also at the beginning we see a kind of budding love, you know, romance, you know. So, is it intended to make it more relatable to the audience?
You know what? It's just a different side of Reacher. You know, when you read all the books, there's just different elements to Reacher. And in the same way, I make my movies for audiences. So everything I do is, you know, and each story, you know, I'm trying to fulfill the potential of that story for an audience. As I'm first and foremost a movie lover. I love going to the movies, and I make movies to entertain audiences, and I make a wide range of films, from musicals to dramas, comedies, and so I always want to engage the audience as much as possible, and that is most definitely what we're trying to do with every story.
In this film, we have a very strong female character,
Yes.
Susan Turner. So she kind of stand up with Jack Reacher,
Yes.
and what's the process and working
Yeah.
like? How do you think of Kobe's models?
I think she's fantastic. I think she's really intelligent, beautiful, talented, fun. She was a great actress, great to work with, and I loved it. We really had a lot of fun.
Also, this film you worked with director Edward Zwick the
Yes.
second time.
Yes.
And what do you think is his unique contribution to this film?
I think he's, you look at the range of cinema and the kind of films that he's made. With the last movie we made together was Last Samurai, and it was, I was very excited when he said that he wanted to make this with me, because we were looking for people, and he said, we were always talking about making another movie together, and something, very different. And he understands. First of all, I think he's an incredible filmmaker, and you look at, from Glory to Samurai to Blood Diamond, Legends of the Fall, About Last Night, just to name a few of his films. And with Reacher, to be able to direct a kind of movie like this, you see the character development, his visual style. He understands cinema and how to tell a story like this, which is very. It's actually not very easy. It's a very simple format, but sometimes being simple is the hardest thing to be.
You always do your own stunt, and how is it like in this time? And like Tom Cruise doing all the stunts on set, I think everyone on the set must be very pressured. Does that add some kind of stress to the
Oh, you know what? Making movies is pressure, period. And it doesn't matter. It's always pressure. And of course, that's how the story and action and character, they're designed for that. And yes, people do feel, I'm sure, extra pressure, but also I prepare very hard. I don't just show up and do these things. I've spent months, sometimes years, preparing for a character. So, and it's part of the challenge of making movies. And as I said, I like to entertain an audience, and I give everything to my movies, everything I can for the audience.
What do you think do you hope people will remember after watching this film?
What I always want is them to feel entertained, to feel that when you line up my films, I often think of a movie in terms of what's it going to feel like 5 years from now, where I make movies not just for the opening weekend, but in terms of 5-10 years. So I work very hard on the quality of films, and I don't compromise on my stories, on my characters. I will spend extra time preparing to make it as good as it can be, and I just want audience to feel entertained when they see my films. And if you line my movies up, that there's a choice of entertainment too. That this film is very funny and very satisfying, and that's what I hope that they feel, because I am here to entertain them, and I want them to go out and enjoy an evening at the cinema. Just really go and enjoy themselves.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.